you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My tax here. Thank you very much. My task here is to introduce our next speaker for this occasion. A man who needs no introduction at all, because we all know him as a father. You see, when God wants to rescue a people, he sends them a man. It was so in Bible days when God sent Moses to deliver his children from the land of slavery. And it is so today, for our God has not changed. And if you know the story of our next speaker, you cannot but agree with me that this is a man who has been handpicked by God and prepared to lead our country for a time such as this. This man represents experience and not experiment, because he has gone through the mill. At the international level, he served as the first co-chair of the United Nations Advocacy Group on the Sustainable Development Goals. He also served as the African Union's high-level committee that did the preparatory work to pave the way for the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. He is a former chairman of the Authority of Heads of States of ECOWAS, and currently he is the chair of the Naana Higher Level Forum on Security in Africa. In Ghana, he has gone through the mill as well. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been member of parliament for the good people of Bole Bamboy for 3 terms. He's been a deputy minister for communications. He's been a minister for communications. He's been vice president of the Republic of Ghana. And as vice president, he was not a mere mate, but a co-driver. He has been president of the Republic of Ghana. And by the grace of God, he shall be sworn in as president of the Republic of Ghana on 7th January 2025. He is a man of vision, a man of character, a man you can trust, a man who exudes humility and love for God and country seamlessly. Under his tenure for president, Ghana experienced true leadership and transformation. No region or sector was left out, but he was misunderstood, he was maligned, he was demonized and bastardized. But as he himself predicted, posterity has judged him well, and today he stands vindicated, and Ghanaians are yearning for his return. Ghanaians are saying they have missed him and cannot wait to see him at the Jubilee House again. Ladies and gentlemen, some call him the nation builder, but I call him Abu Brokosuya Adebeyeye and Saida. Now with a standing ovation and a rousing round of applause, make welcome to the microphone the man of vision, the man of character, the nation builder who will lead us to build the Ghana we want together. His Excellency, His Excellency, the victory His Excellency, His Excellency, His Excellency, His Excellency, His Excellency, John Ramani Baba.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jama Group. Thank you very much. Let me say that as having chosen their positions, you may be very, very deeply disappointed. Thank you, Jama Group.
Vindicated, and Ghanaians are yearning for his return. Ghanaians are saying they have missed him and cannot wait to see him at the Jubilee House again. Ladies and gentlemen, some call him the nation builder, but I call him Abu Brokosuya, Adebeyeye, and Saida. Now with a standing ovation and a rousing round of applause, make welcome to the microphone the man of vision, the man of character, the nation builder who will lead us to build the Ghana we want together. His Excellency, His Excellency, the victory of Muhammad. His Excellency, His Excellency, His Excellency, His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jama Group. Thank you very much. Let me say that I don't have any list, and so for those of them who were referred to by General as having chosen their positions, you may be very, very deeply disappointed. But I want to thank you very much and say good evening to you all, my brothers and sisters, my fellow comrades, and all the good people of Ghana. Let me begin by acknowledging our national chairman, Honorable Johnson Asiedu Nketia, our General Secretary Fifi Fiavi Kwete, the chairman of our Council of Elders, Alhaji Mahama Idrisu, and all members of the Council of Elders, and indeed all members of the NDC family. I wish with respect to acknowledge all distinguished members of our society who are with us today, including our traditional leaders, our traditional rulers, our religious leaders, our students, members of the diplomatic corps, market women, public servants, and indeed Ghanaians of all levels of society. You're all welcome and I acknowledge you. I also acknowledge my siblings and my family. My son Sharaf is here with me this evening. And most importantly, I recognize Mrs. Lodina Dramani Mahama. my faithful companion, who has stood by my side through all the rough and tumble of Ghanaian politics. But today we are here to celebrate one person, and that is my running mate, in whom I'm well pleased, Professor Naana Opoku Agyemang. Ladies and gentlemen, I studied history in the university, so I always start with history. History is made up of stories. And as a history student, I've always found an insatiable love for stories. These stories are not simply meant to entertain us, but they are meant to teach us about ourselves, our choices, and our actions, and the useful lessons that we can learn from these stories. Indeed, the evolution of humankind has been the story of triumph over trials and challenges. And throughout history, civilization after civilization, society after society, humanity has found in its lowest moments within itself a rare but potent dose of inspiration, nestled in the illustrious hearts of its best people to turn things around. In adversity, we find opportunity. Ghana is at one such juncture. Ghana is at one such juncture in its life, and it requires all our best human resources to change the course of our history and steer our ship of state into calmer waters. Often when our stories are told, they are about his story. But right before us today in Ghana, another story is playing out. Right before our eyes, another history is in the making. But this time, I'll call it her story. Her story will blend favorably with our past to create what I call our story, which will inform our perspectives, shape our destinies, and determine our democratic journey. Therefore, I stand before you today with a deep sense of humility, a renewed sense of hope, to introduce Professor Naana Opoku Agyemang. A very respected woman, a female achiever, a woman of integrity, who will make her mark on our country's journey towards progress and prosperity. There is no question about it. Over the last few years, Ghana, our dear country, has sunk to the lowest depths in our history as an independent nation. Our country, Ghana, over the last few years, has been buffeted by turbulent seas and has been sailing against a very strong headwind. Our leadership has been uninspiring and inept. We have lived under an administration that is unable to be truthful and honest to the people of Ghana and never accepts responsibility for anything. There can be no question in our minds that the effect of this maladministration has been so insidious and pervasive that today our people have lost faith and hope in not just the government of the day, but in our democratic system of governance. Ladies and gentlemen, our country needs an urgent reset. Our people need a leadership that is inspiring, one that will make our people believe and trust in our Ghana project once again, and believe in the hope of a better future. Ghana needs a leadership that will place value on integrity, truth, and accountability. Ghana needs a leadership that will roll up its sleeves and accept responsibility for our current reality and face the present storm stoically and steer the ship of state into safer and calmer waters. Ghana in its present crisis needs leadership that will do things differently, including sacrificing personal comforts to achieve a Ghana of shared prosperity for all of us, not just a few. The next 4 years will be pivotal for our country's destiny. The urgency required to take our country to the height it deserves will be matched by each waking day. If there was any indication of intent to think outside the box, to be innovative and use our best human resources to deliver the Ghana we all want, then it is in my choice of Naana Opoku Agyemang as my running mate. As my running mate and potential Vice President of Ghana going into the 2024 elections. I do not doubt this, as her globally acclaimed credentials attest to that. Nana Jane is a woman of unquestionable integrity and whose reputation for honesty and ethical behavior is unparalleled. Our late leader, the founder of the National Democratic Congress and the Fourth Republic, President Jerry John Rawlings, acknowledged her integrity when he told her in 2020, "There is no doubt that it is your integrity that has earned you the position as running mate." A former Minister of Education, a trailblazing first female Vice Chancellor of a public university in Ghana, and celebrated as a scholar and as an administrator, her shining credentials are endless on the African continent and across the globe. She is a woman who will accept responsibility and bring honesty and truth back to the office of the Vice President. With Nana Jane as my Vice President, Ghana can be assured that an NDC government led by me, President John Dramani Mahama, will fight corruption and restore the gaping absence of accountability that is the current hallmark of this government. We will work tirelessly to ensure transparency, accountability, and justice for all and not just a few. I know Nana Jane is a passionate advocate of the Mahama 24-hour economy policy. She understands the importance of providing equal opportunities for women and young people to thrive in our economy. And as Vice President, she will ensure that women and young people have more access to jobs, helping to create a more inclusive and prosperous society. Beyond our Ghanaian borders, Nana Jane's esteemed reputation precedes her. Major international organizations and allies highly regard her, and she will represent Ghana with dignity and efficiency on the global stage. Her presence will open doors, increase trust for our nation, and secure many benefits with our international partners. But perhaps most importantly, Nana Jane represents the aspirations and dreams of every Ghanaian, especially our female population. Thank you. Thank you. Mabio Dende. Thank you very much. As my second in command, thank you. Thank you. As my second in command, she will break the glass ceiling that has held our women down. And she will generate a new hope in our daughters that the sky is the limit. and that they can also aspire to occupy the highest offices of the land. If we are to build the Ghana we want together, then Jane Naana Opoku Agyemang is truly the vice president Ghana is looking for. She will be a perfect complement in many ways, serving with dignity, courage, integrity, and grace. And under a Mahama Naana Jane administration, the government will work harmoniously with a seamless bridge between the office of the president and the office of the vice president. At the end of our tenure, our 4-year tenure, the story that will be recorded will be our story. It will be a collective legacy built by the best human resources of our country, male and female. Nana brings a depth of knowledge and a legacy of leadership to our ticket. I worked with her as my education minister and again as my running mate. I've enjoyed a great working relationship with her, one that is based on mutual respect for each other and her deep sense of loyalty. She has great insights into human resource management, empowerment, and social development. And under my administration, she will have oversight, among others, of the education sector, the health sector, gender, and social protection. Thank you. In these dire times, when unemployment rates have risen astronomically and poverty is stalking our land, ours will be a pair of experienced individuals poised to work together to make the difference that Ghanaians deserve. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, comrades, my brothers and sisters, I'm happy to present to you my running mates, and by the grace of God and the votes of you, my fellow citizens, I'm happy to present Ghana's next Vice President, Professor Jane Naana Opoku Agyemang. And I leave you with this quotation from the Bible, and it's Romans 8 verse 31, and it says, if God be for us, who can be against us? Amen, and I thank you for your kind attention. Let's go straight.
again and again. Thank you. As intellectualism. It is weakness strutting as courage, and crony capitalism masked as development in freedom. It is shameless hypocrisy pretending to be objective. This will never move our country forward. Rather, the most significant achievement of all these has been a country in near insolvency. Its natural resources such as water, land, and even the environment in rebellion. A people harassed and intimidated into numbness, and as some will say cynically, some of us also bribed into silence. I envisage a report on the administration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on the ticket of the NDC in his reign 2013 to early 2017. And I bet that the report will have no reference to the following: a multi-million dugout. I don't know about you, but the image I get looking at that hole is a trench in utter shock that anyone could believe it was intended as a Thanksgiving gift to the Almighty, invisible, God only wise. You will not find in his record a free SHS at war. The battle fought on the grounds of food, shelter, space, even calendar, teaching and learning materials, or those who spend a couple of weeks in school and many months at home just idling by. You will not find past questions instead of textbooks and science equipment. You will not find an atmosphere that suppresses learning. You will not find free water and electricity to a few that has turned out to be most expensive for everyone. Such a report will not find COVID money shared for partisan political campaign. And all of this done when people were dying and they needed just a little bit of help. You will not find in a STEM and a Japan-like manifesto. And you will not find him as president clearing malfeasance and writing love letters to prejudice a bad situation. You will not find that unemployment jumped from 8 to 14%. And actually check the figures. Check the actual figures. Go beyond the percentages. And you will not find a debt to GDP that has gone a wall, or a city that refuses to be tamed. Under his tenure, you will not find weak efforts to hide the truth of Doomsok. The reports will not include scandals surrounding the PDS, Australian visa, Calvin JVG, most contaminated fuel, excavations, and Aboboya tricycles that can fly faster than unconfirmed. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you will not find unfulfilled promises of one village, one dam, $1 million per constituency per year, 350 secondary schools from scratch, and too many betrayals and too many instances of disrespect. You will not find in his time ex-raka too embarrassed and gone into hiding because it is too afraid to expose its plagiarized content. In truth, such an investigation of his time would not reveal over 100 scandals and still counting. What will the report say about the NDC under John Dramani Mahama? After exhausting the list of clinics, hospitals, medical centers, expansion of existing universities, polytechnics and technical universities, brand new universities, focus on current and projected national needs, you will find the Mahama schools, popularly called E-blocks, and you will find these constructed from scratch. You will find that there was a debilitating shift system and that it was painstakingly and effectively abolished. You will find that the ratio of textbooks at the primary level moved from 1 book to 3 children to 4 books per child. This is a leader you can trust. This is a leader who has the love of the country at heart. The report will highlight new roads, harbors, railway lines, not what we've seen of late, Ayalolo buses. You will find the lack of intimidation of opposing voices. You will find serious investment and practice to enable a digitized economy and society. The report will go on to point at housing projects, including the famous Saglemi housing complex, and even those that somebody has happily raised to make room for a presumed cathedral. You will find that journalists were not hounded into exile. Should I add more? Okay. The report will find that once upon some years ago, the blame for power outages was placed at the doorstep of the President and the Minister for Energy. The report will find a President who solved the energy crisis that he inherited, and a minister who did resign on principle. The report will tell of a timetable for load shedding provided to respect the dignity of citizens and acknowledge their right to plan and also to learn the truth about our situation with energy. The report will contrast the existing arrogance in leadership with that of the respectful JDM, who builds the children and youth by offering lasting skills, quality education, serious adaptable training, who opens up the economy to create more space for jobs and self-actualization. The report will highlight a JDM who does not line up desperate young people in the heat of the tropical sun to march and salute him as head of state for jobs that have no head, they have no tail, they have no future. The report will explain the foundations of the principles of the policies of the NDC, that they will see that the NDC strives and thrives on consensus building, from observation, study, analysis, vigorous debates that tolerate all views, to an agreement on the options at hand, and end with well thought out implementation plans. The benefits of such approach inure to everyone. They inure to nation, they inure to community, they inure to individual, in that order. The report will highlight, going forward, the critical processes that will lead to innovations and flexibilities of the brave timely, intentional intervention of a 24-hour economy, as proposed by H.E. Mahama, after consulting widely with stakeholders and citizens across the country, because he respects everyone. I am not surprised at all that many labor groups, businesses and individuals have embraced the concept. It is a vision anchored on the firm belief that with the right policies and incentives in place, we can inspire a new generation of enterprises to adopt a multi-shift work system and wider participation in the economy, thereby ushering us all into a new and golden era of Ghanaian industry. Obiara baby. And by the time the policy is in full flight, a couple of years down the road, we should not be surprised to see how, from the vegetable seller to the miner, from the smallest hamlet to the crowded cities, from the farmer to the fisher folk, from the young couple to the single parent, everyone will come and see and apply the benefits of the 24-hour economy for national group and individual advancement. Please come join us in our hall meetings, in our town hall meetings and other programs to learn more about this incredibly effective strategy. Do not fall victim to those who have realized that having failed in sloganeering and packaging, that they have exhausted all their strategies and therefore resort to deception and destruction. We are particularly pleased to see, as evidence in credible polls, that this visionary policy has caught on and resonated with the public, especially with our young people. Where are the youth? Are they here? The policy, a 24-hour economy, will demand that we pay special attention to skills training in Sanojuma. And that is why we are serious about continuing with the critical reforms and the improvements we made under his tenure in our technical and vocational training institutions to ensure that we equip our youth with the technical skills necessary for a thriving economy. And Ejuma also means equipping our youth with tech skills so that they are ready to participate in our economy and in the global remote economy. So, as we mentioned several times, during the 2020 campaign, we intend to implement the 1 million coders program, which sets an ambitious but attainable goal to train over 1 million of our youth in coding, data science, and other tech fields. The potential for this pool of young people to contribute to Ghana GDP is enormous, and inshallah, it shall happen. Definitely, another important area, and why this position is important and why the NDC has prioritized it. We will pay special attention to issues and challenges faced by women in all walks of life. Oh, the women are not happy. And the men too. This is part of the reason we propose extended maternity leave, in line with one of H.E. of His Excellency President Mahama's 2020 election promises. And in the 2024 manifesto, the flexibility offered within the context of a 24-hour economy must hold special attention for women for obvious reasons. Maybe we should meet and have a long discussion on that one. Women entrepreneurs must have access to capital for the entire sector to boost their businesses. And that is why we will actively pursue the establishment of a Women's Development Bank. To primarily nurture and grow women-owned, women-led businesses. Women must become millionaires too, shouldn't we? We must become millionaires too through hard work, as our men do. We do not need hands out. We need hands up. Women of Ghana are capable of managing that bank 100%. The bank must take care of small-scale businesses or tiny-scale businesses to give them credit. And I'm talking about those who are hawking or people whose businesses do not depend on huge capital. I envisage a board made up of trading associations and cooperatives, and all these fully represented and making serious decisions and being accountable to its members. And I into me. And the world knows what we do with our resources when women prosper. We hardly leave our children behind. We hardly leave the wider families, including the men, behind. There is better stability at home. There is better peace at home. Most will demand less job money, so the girls should clap for us. And you know that all these add up to make a nation at peace with itself. Surely this is what Kweju Agri must have observed when he made his famous statement about the far-reaching effects of the education of women. Thank you very, very much. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if anyone has any doubt, just remember a lady called Esther Oklu. What brilliance, what innovation, what display of entrepreneurship. She showed the way. Let's revive that dream and hope and actions of our hero and heroine entrepreneurs as models. Let's stop killing their dreams, because some of us are simply too lazy, too envious, too lacking in original ideas, or have capabilities that are too low to match their results. How do we preach entrepreneurship, encourage a study, and propose this practice, and then turn around to make waste of the efforts of successful entrepreneurs? If you decide you don't like the owner, think of the worker who may be a member of your community, your political party, or even your church member. How about him? We must move to the level of encouragement, appreciation, and support of those who participate in the private sector, no matter what. Their efforts at nation building trickle down to all groups. We will also undertake the modernization of our markets, which remain special and dominant places for women in the economy. Market women deserve the benefits of a clean, modernized marketplace. Our efforts so far bear witness. All I plead is that our efforts must not end with beautiful Kejetia or attractive Kotokraba and allied markets. My fellow Ghanaians, please, let us just be mindful and show some respect to our citizens. So the lights are not stable. And because somebody has not told us that it is Dumso, it means there is no Dumso. So the Electoral Commission is struggling to defend its credibility. And until the Commission tells us that the missing equipment mean nothing, everyone should believe that there are no issues to worry about. How did disrespect get so high? Actions that impoverish and disenfranchise do not necessarily translate into feeble-mindedness in people who are angry, in people who are hungry, and in people who are oppressed. On the contrary, again, check the details in our history. The Electoral Commission, I address you directly. It is in the national interest and in your own interest to make transparent what has been and is going on in your establishment. The truth will not be suppressed. You cannot be so independent as to disregard the people who validate your existence. It does not happen anywhere. Easy. A word to the wise is in Asen North. This administration has all but given up. Whereas they will not consult, they will not engage, they will not review. Woman Ethiopia, woman be konusa, among Fonsoni on be Pimsusa. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, fellow Ghanaians, Ghana requires a different environment, and urgently so. The Ghanaian voter is presented again with the experienced, humble, focused, and truthful John Mahama, who has always consulted out of respect and out of the conviction that knowledge does not reside in the head of any one person. The condescending see this, unfortunately, as a sign of not having original ideas. The unpretentious see it as a sign of understanding the foundations of democracy, which is consensus building. I see it as a sign of strength, and I feel privileged to work so closely with JDM. Consensus building should be the fulcrum of any progressive, positive project. It has already been demonstrated to us how without such a foundation, the Ghana without aid has turned out to be the Ghana without compass. We have a choice now, come December 7th, and let us make the right choice. Corruption is too rampant in many government and non-government institutions. Sadly, those institutions meant to check on corruption have been significantly weakened. We must strengthen the institutions, and we will do just that when the NDC comes to power from January 2025, God willing. It is our duty to ensure that our sources of wealth are not given away to obscure entities. or shrouded in opaque deals. We must not arrive at a destination where our national assets and natural resources are treated by some as if they were assets of their own creation, to be willed forever to friends and family. We must be passionate about justice, about the protection of our environment, about protecting our differently able citizens. We must be passionate about institutions that are responsive or are supposed to be responsive to our collective needs. We must be passionate about stamping out corruption. Let no one tell us otherwise. Not even those who have so alienated themselves from reality as to be impervious to the truth of women delivering on the floor, of children waiting for a benevolent person to advance much needed vaccines, of children learning in dangerous circumstances, of teachers threatened and parents intimidated from their core functions of caring for their own children, of those who can no longer afford healthy and once affordable meals, euphemistically called Face the Wall or Kofi Brookman. We must ensure that our elderly citizens must not picket for their own money. Let no one tell us that the culture of silence has become the norm. And let no one convince us that 8 persons were shot in cold blood because they had gone to exercise their civic responsibility of voting, and that it was all right for a whole member of parliament to call them criminals, or that it is okay for Sal to have no representative in parliament for 4 years. And all of this are happening under democracy because somebody whimsically decided hours to elections that they could not vote for a parliamentary candidate. And please don't tell us that the Bank of Ghana, rather than defending itself from accusations of breach of procedure, can choose to label those who raise the matter publicly as hooligans, and that they should have followed procedure. And at the time of accounting to the people, let no one pretend that they have more human rights than those they have consciously disenfranchised and those to whom justice has been shamefully denied. When those otherwise loud voices we assumed spoke for the voiceless have gone into self-imposed silence and even deafness and blindness, with all apologies to our friends, but this is self-imposed, not natural. Should we honestly be surprised at the high levels of cynicism, if not downright mistrust of our leaders? Are we surprised that we have our youth in despair? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our country is not sitting pretty. Things have gravely deteriorated. We agree to that. It is high time we came together to do the hard work, to build again, regardless how daunting. All is not lost. Our beloved country can rise again. Again, and this time it should not slack. Politics is about building the country. It is not about insults or filthy language. Politics is not about disrespect or fear. It is not about violence or greed. It is not about abuse of power or hypocrisy. Politics is about fighting injustice, hunger. It's about fighting hopelessness, arrogance, selfishness, unbridled greed, corruption, state capture, disrespect of fellow human beings. And in this fight, we don't need private armies, we don't need mercenaries, we don't need destructive ammunition, or in Ghanaian parlance, by heart talk, or wanton ruining of other people's hard-earned reputations. That is not politics. What I've enumerated is jealousy hoisted on cowardice. We need the armor of principles, selflessness, sacrifice, and all these rooted firmly in the service of those who give us the power. Politics is to imagine a better community, a better constituency, a better region, a better country. All of us building the Ghana we want together. The time for us to rise as a nation is now. Let us walk and work towards a victorious election that goes beyond political triumph. The triumph must work towards a transformed Ghana, where merit counts, where equity is paramount, where opportunity is not a privilege, where justice is just, where our sons and daughters can aspire to any height without the fetters of bias or limitation. To everyone who has lost hope, our youth as a collective, especially our indispensable constituencies made up of young people, especially the women and the girls, the professionals who are at work, those who remain unemployed, our friends in the media, wherever you are and whatever you do, whether you are driving, you are a food processor, chop bar operator, factory worker, market woman, worker, I address you last because you are very, very special to me. And I open my arms to welcome each one of you. Come partner with the NDC. Come let us think together. Come let us work together. Come let us craft and roll out a where your voices are constructive, where your lives matter. This moment is for you. No shaking. I thank you for your kind attention. May God bless you. May God bless our homeland, Ghana.